And we back. It's Professor Lombardi with the 58 sack whodunit conundrum. Today we're going to look at our guards, not all the guards, because like Zach Martin is going to be a whole nother video. I'm putting him with Tyron Smith, but we're looking at Xavier Filo and Connor Williams today. So there was this big debate in Cowboy fandom of who would be better or worse, Xavier Filo or Connor Williams. I was kind of putting this same information out all year, but whatever. We'll get into that conversation. So looking at my notes, and I promise y'all I can take pictures, I can put it on Twitter, whatever y'all want to do. They both have the same exact number of sacks that were faulted against them. And it's all my opinion. I'm going to show you this stuff to kind of validate it or whatever. All my opinion. But they actually had the same exact number of sacks. And we're going to get into those in a second. Something that I thought that was interesting was Connor Williams actually played more games than Xavier Filo, and it kind of feels like Xavier played more than Connor, but Connor actually played all the way to week 8. Then he had a bye week, and then Xavier played a few games, and he got up to 8 games in total. But what happened is on that back end, Connor Williams played 4 games with Xavier Filo. So whether it be Xavier getting hurt in the playoffs and Connor kind of just being there and Xavier not there, or Connor Williams coming in to play guard for when Zach Martin got hurt. Connor actually ended up playing more games than Xavier Filo, but they ended up with the same sack numbers. So you can take that information and do whatever you would like to do with it. There are a lot of people that paint me as a Connor Williams apologist, that he could do no wrong. That's not true. I just feel like that Connor Williams was always a better guard in the run game, and in the passing game they were just as bad. Like they both were equally bad, but Connor Williams gave you a lot more in other different places. But let's get into the work. Let's get into the research. Before we get started, don't forget to support the merch. Shouts out to all my Patreon people, my PayPal, Cash App people. If you want to pick up some merchandise, that is shop.spreadshirt.com/shop Lombardi. All these shirts are fire, man. Don't even act like they not, bro. But let's get into it. So, what's this first play? 352? Who's at the 352 mark? So we're going to do Xavier Filo first, okay? If you haven't watched my other few videos, we do this by the old 1,004 count, the 7-on-7 1,004 count. If Dak Prescott still has the ball at 1,004, then he's held the ball too long. And if not, then it's, offensive lineman fault. So let's see. Let's see what he does. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004. And right at 1,004, who was that? Vita Vea? Vita Vea was like grabbing him. So I'm putting this on Xavier Filo. And just, Xavier Filo kind of got his reputation from that one play that he kind of tossed Fletcher Cox in the Eagles game, and he just kind of fell on him because he was heavy. But let's not act like Xavier Filo hadn't been picked up and moved from point A to point B beyond his free will or whatnot. Like Xavier Filo got his fair share of beatings as well. Now, before y'all get started, because I know how the chat box and comment sections are gonna get, I'm gonna bash Connor Williams just as much as I'm gonna bash Xavier Filo. I'm just getting my get back. Y'all know Dak got sacked 7 times in the Saints game. You know what I mean? Like it's weird how we won that game and how great the defense played. That Dak can get he can get sacked 7 times and we scored 13 points and still win that game. It's crazy. But this one was from Xavier Filo, and I think I made a video on this like when we actually played the Saints, of how Xavier Filo was just kind of getting moved around a little bit. And to be fair to both players or whatnot, Connor and Xavier, both players have their fair share of quarterback hits and pressures as well that wasn't necessarily counted as sacks. But we're not doing all that. We're just doing sacks. So just to be fair, both guys kind of equally got their ass whooped this year. But this one was pretty nasty there. He hit him with the right hand and the shoulder plate, free up the left hand, pull down with the right hand. That was pretty nasty there. But anyway, and we got another one versus the Saints that was just flat ass terrible. I ain't got to analyze it. I ain't got to get into it too bad, man. But Xavier just simply didn't move his feet here. You see, once he kick, boom. Once he got to the contact, you got to keep moving your feet through contact as well, or at least after the contact, to be able to continue to to continue to keep the engagement going, right? If you just stop your feet like Suafilo did, then that's going to happen to you when 93, what was that, Sheldon Rankins? Yeah, when 93 actually does a move to get past you and your feet aren't moving, then that's the type of thing that happens to you. So pardon me, that wasn't Sheldon Rankins. That was some character I never heard of in my life. But I'm looking at my notes and I got this view written down for some reason. Let me look at Cartel first. Let me look at the Cartel view first. At Xavier Suafilo, the left guard. Let's see what happened here. Oh, okay. I know what happened. Okay. Yeah. Dak ends up fumbling right here, and yeah, this is probably why I got the wide angle view here, because you actually see Xavier get pushed into Dak. He's gonna pick Suafilo up from point A to point B and actually hit Dak with Suafilo, and that's gonna cause a fumble. Okay, cool. That's why I had the wide angle here. So yeah, hey man, I just want to get y'all off of this narrative that Xavier Suafilo was better than Connor Williams just because he was bigger and like harder to move. Like, people still moving the shit out of Suafilo, man. That ain't no thing, man. But like I said, I don't want to pick on Suafilo too much, man, because y'all gonna think I'm just flat out hating. That ain't the case, but can't be getting your big ass picked up like that. Take a look at this play. It's another one from the Saints game, just Xavier Suafilo. Once again, he'll get caught in a situation where he's not bringing his feet along with him. Once he kicks and he kind of oversets to this point, that's him stopping his feet. He stops his feet right there. And when he stops his feet, you can see him dragging because they're on the ground because they're not moving. You know what I mean? Like, that's bad. That's bad, man. But that's another one. And this is when we get into the half sack series where Xavier Suafilo teams up with some of his other offensive linemen to get Dak killed. We got him at left guard here. This is one of these scenarios. I showed this play in the Leo Collins video already, but we're gonna show it from the Xavier Suafilo perspective as well. And Suafilo is really the reason why Dak got flushed out of the pocket here. It's Suafilo and Lael's fault because, to be fair, we see Lael getting his push from Dak's right, but if Dak was able to like step up into the pocket, this wouldn't really be an issue here. But Dak couldn't step up to the pocket because Suafilo was right in his face, because whoever was that, Brandon Graham at 3 tech. I got Brandon Graham at 3 tech. Damn. Yeah, he picked up Suafilo and put him right into Dak's lap. Let's take a look at it from the wide angle, because we can always see it better from the wide angle. Xavier Suafilo at the left guard spot here. Yeah. It's pretty bad. Moving on. And on this play, we're going to see Suafilo and Zach Martin team up to get the business, but we're only taking a look at our left guard here, and Fletcher Cox pretty much just moving him, man. This is another scenario of Dak actually just getting flushed out of the pocket. And Dak couldn't step up into the pocket, right? And I think a lot of these sacks would be avoided if Dak could step up. But a lot of our sacks came from Connor. They came from Suafilo. They came from the right side. Even, Zach Martin got a few in there. So, even though somebody say, it was somebody on my live stream, somebody that was in that live stream, what they say? They said that Leo Collins was the better offensive lineman than Zach Martin or something like that. That was insane. But back to Suafilo here. Most of these complimentary sacks where Dak gets hit by somebody else, they come from Suafilo getting the pocket pushed directly in front of Dak. Right here, we got a 3-for-1 with Xavier Suafilo, who is this, Joe Looney and Cam Fleming. This whole left side just gave out on us, and the boat just sinks slowly. The bad part about this is, first of all, Cam got beat, but I'm gonna show that later in the Cam video. But Joe Looney didn't give up a lot of sacks this year. He had a lot of help. But Xavier Suafilo helped Joe Looney on this play, and they both still kind of got the whole thing torn up from the inside out, man. It's bad, man. It's bad, bro. Whose direct fault is this? At this point, they're not bad, because if you're gonna double team in a pass set, you want Joe's left side on the block and you want Suafilo's right side on the block. But at some point, Suafilo's right side comes off the block and Joe's left stays on, and 93 just kind of takes them both for a ride there, and that's bad business. And you don't really want that to happen, especially on the one down block. That's a double team on the front, so it's bad business. And we're going to use this last play here to be Segway Jones real fast, right? We're going to use Xavier Filo to set up the Connor Williams sack because they both got sacks here. They both gave up sacks here. But let's look at Xavier Filo first. Now, I don't know where this myth came from, man. I said this before. I'm going to say it again. The whole Xavier Filo is better because he's bigger and it's harder to move him. That must be one of those DallasCowboys.com myths, man. But you know, boy. Xavier Filo gets picked up and moved like the rest of them, man, and that's pretty damn terrible, man. So you know, I'm calling for Xavier Filo to gain some weight and damn get strong in the offseason as well. But let's take a look at Connor Williams. I think he ended up blocking Michael Bennett here, or not blocking Michael Bennett here, getting his ass whooped. Yeah, Michael just neutralized the hands, got past him. Connor Williams had to look back and say, "Watch out." So let's get into the Connor Williams portion of the video. YouTube Illuminati is taking money away from your favorite content creators, and people often ask the best way to support the channel directly. I tell them that's subscribing to my Patreon. Just $1 a month would increase production and the frequency of uploads. Basically, that means more content for you. For less than a bag of almond M&Ms, you can support the channel, call dibs on requests for future videos, and you can have access to Patreon exclusive material like my throwback film sessions. That's patreon.com/Voch Lombardi. I appreciate the support. Doski Woski. Salute. So take a look at this play here. It's a simple gap exchange. Really, Connor Williams is going to step in to help Joe Looney, but Connor's got to keep his eyes up in case anything comes back into this gap. And Luke Kuechly ends up coming into this gap. And what happened was Connor got his shoulders turned, and he wasn't even he didn't even see Luke there. And you know, Luke got the free run at Dak. Now Luke didn't finish the sack, but Luke absolutely caused Dak to move into the to move back around the pocket and get sacked here. So I'm blaming Connor Williams partly for this sack, for getting his shoulders turned and not keeping his eyes up. Right here, Connor Williams is going to get picked on and bull rushed, and lunch money is going to get taken and stuffed in a locker and called nerd. And nothing else we can do about it there, man. That's just a flat out power rush. Connor's not strong enough to deal with it there. Not big enough or strong enough to deal with that. So he gets pushed out the way. Let's take a look at the wide angle, because these bull rushes directly into the quarterback are always better when we take a look at it from the wide angle. And yep, you see how much ground was covered with Connor Williams, and that's bad business. Connor here just simply didn't sink his hips under this lineman here. He started off with the good hands, and look, Connor Williams got good hands, and if he doesn't lunge at people and he uses his hands and feet together in unison, he can block these people, and he kind of figured that out at the end of the season. He had a pretty good game versus Aaron Donald, which is hard to do from anybody, but Connor comes off the ball, pretty good hands here. He just got to bring his hips to further get up under that this tackle here, but he didn't. He just left this whole gap exposed. But if Connor would have gotten his hips there, I think he would have been fine, but you know, he didn't. So Dak got to get his white pants dirty, because you know, Connor Williams doesn't want to bring his hips. I'll say this: Connor could have cleaned up his sack number if he was just a little better with like gap exchanges and whatnot. And this comes with being a young offensive lineman, so you know, that gives you a little bit of hope that part of this will be fixed in the offseason here. But this wasn't even really Connor getting whooped. This was just a gap exchange that he didn't keep his eyes open for. Now, something I like about him, man, like if Connor's playing tackle, then gap exchanges get a little less creepy, because you can get attacked from less angles from the outside. But if you're on the inside, they can line Clowney on top of you. They can put Clowney in A gap, and some cat from way backside B can end up going to your front side A gap. And you know, Connor Williams, you just didn't even see it coming. You got so caught up in the Jadeveon Clowney crossing your face that 55 just went over the top of you, and that was bad business. Everybody got their ass whooped right there, and I hate it. Connor Williams is your right guard, getting his ass uppercut, spun round, and kung loud. But it goes back to my other point, man. If Connor can bring his hands and not lunge, settle his feet, and keep them moving, then he'll be good to go. Every game that Connor's been beat from somebody, I've seen him block that same person when he does his techniques correctly. But you know, he kind of just stalls right here. His base gets kind of wide, doesn't really bring his feet. He kind of lunges a little bit, and you could tell he's lunging because his shoulders end up over his feet here. That's never a good thing, and that base ain't gonna whoop nobody ass. But hey, shouts out to 95, man. You got the sack, and you know, That's just terrible, man. Get up, man. Wipe off your clothes, man. And here's another example. Connor Williams lunging again, and this comes from a lack of confidence in his own strength. Sometimes when you feel like you're not powerful enough, you can just lunge, and if you end up lunging, you end up on the ground. Connor Williams did this a bunch. He ended up beating himself a lot. I feel like the problem with Connor's game can easily be fixed. As far as my other favorite offensive lineman, Xavier Filo, I think he's just kind of what he is right now. But Connor definitely has a higher ceiling. There's a lot of people saying we should, get rid of Connor or bench Connor or cut Connor and get somebody else, or that he was a wasted pick. No, I just think Connor had to just develop a little bit. Plus, he was playing inside; he should have been playing outside. But that's just my opinion. And then you see once again on this play, Connor Williams tries to lunge himself into who is this? Dontari Poe, K1 Short. Whichever one of those guys it is, you just see Connor try to want to lunge. You know what I'm saying? And that's not strong. That's not powerful, because if you try to just lunge yourself, you end up standing tall like this. You're not very strong. Your base is bad. Your knees aren't bent. Your pad and hat level's high, and your hands are not really in the best spot because the D lineman is controlling. So. Yeah, man, a lot of this stuff is technique stuff, confidence stuff, consistency, like, bringing your feet, putting your hands in the right place or whatever, just doing the right things. Connor Williams, he was fine once he did those things. Like in the same games where he was losing to Dontari and Fletcher Cox, and like those guys that he was losing against, he ended up beating them a lot of plays when he just brought his technique with him. And I guess that's why a lot of people thought that I was a Connor Williams apologist, or that I was unfair to him and Filo. I mean, Filo was getting his ass whooped, but Connor was out here making mistakes. And to be fair, Connor got his ass whooped as well. I just think that Connor's flaws were a little more on the we can fix it side, and Filo is just doomed. But those are my thoughts, man. Those are your two guards, Connor Williams and Xavier Filo. What's after this? If y'all still interested in watching, what's video 4? Tyron Smith and Zach Martin. Those guys gave up sacks. The 5th video is Cam Fleming and Joe Looney and Adam Redmond, because those guys gave up sacks. And the 6th video is they're the sacks that aren't us. There are 10 sacks that Dak got hit for that were just like freak accidents, play call stuff, schemes, like a defensive end just making a pretty good play or whatever. So we'll cross that road. If y'all are still interested, like I said, man, I've made plenty of videos that I thought was gonna hit, but they fell flat with y'all asses. So I really need to know if there's something that y'all interested in. Like y'all may really be interested in the Dak sacks and the Connor sacks, but y'all may not care about the Tyron sacks and the Redmond sacks. So let me know what y'all think. Like the video, hit the notification bell so you know when I drop random ass videos in the middle of the week just like this. And till next time, man. Peace.